When the neighborhood around Juniper Avenue in Treminier was developed, it was planted with all ash trees, making it vulnerable to emerald ash borer infestation. The affected mature trees are being removed, and caring residents want to see large trees to replace them as quickly as possible.
For us, the biggest challenge when it comes to growing trees in the urban environment is the soil's really tough. It's not an ideal place, right? Trees want to grow in natural native soil that's alive, that's really light and fluffy. Here it's really compacted. There's not a great deal of nutrients, a lot of salt. And so we partnered with some of our colleagues in the Greening the Landscape Consortium to say, how do we get trees growing faster without having to plant bigger trees? If you plant a small tree, it's actually going to recover from the transplant much faster. The bigger trees, when they get transplanted, a big machine comes in called the tree spade, and it cuts all of those roots. And they can actually lose upwards of 90 to 95% of their root system. And so the first 3 to 5 years after transplanting big trees, the trees are actually just recovering from that stress, and they don't grow at all. Whereas if you plant smaller trees, or like what we try to plant here with the city is ball and burlap, so 5 mil, it's still stressful, but there's a better chance for it to recover.
By adding soil amendments, the study's going to attempt to mimic the natural environment underground, giving the new trees the best chance of thriving and growing larger. The first product is a mycorrhizal fungus.
95% of plants actually have relationships with fungi. And this product is a bunch of different species, and what it does is it actually bonds with the roots of the trees and goes out into the soil and helps to gather water and gather nutrients easier than the tree roots themselves can do. And that relationship is permanent. So it's, instead of using a fertilizer, which is a one-time use and it goes off into your groundwater, these fungi actually bond with the roots of the tree and live with the tree for the duration that the tree is alive. And so it helps to uptake all of the things that are already in the soil that the tree has a hard time getting. That mycorrhizal fungus helps to do.
After hearing about the study, Bioforest asked to have one of their products, Start G, used as well.
It's a granular, so it's a grain as opposed to the root rescue, which is a powder, and it's bacterially based, which is much, much smaller than the fungus, and it lives inside of the granule, so the granule has all these little tiny pores, and when it rains, the bacteria go inside of the granules, and then when it dries out, the bacteria come out, and then they bond with the roots, and they help to get the roots more nutrients, just like the fungi do.
The study is going to run for 3 years, and there will be a variety of replacement tree species.
As the environment gets warmer, as the climate changes, we're going to want to have more warm, hardy trees. As we get more droughts, like one of the challenges for our growing program this year is that we didn't have enough water. And part of what I'm trying to show with this study here is we're gonna have the financial support and the resources, the staff resources, to actually focus on watering these newly planted trees. Because one of the problems that comes with a lot of these programs, and this isn't just in the City of Burlington, it's all across the board, there's a lot of money for planting and there's no money for maintenance. And it's incomplete, right? You can't grow a massive tree like any of these without actually watering them when they're young. And those first 5 years are really crucial. So the nice part is having these sort of soil amendments, but the real meat and potatoes, where the rubber is going to meet the road, is do these trees get watered? And they will get watered here because they're going to have that attention because we want to see them succeed. And if that's successful, what I'd like to see is that for every tree that we plant, we know that it's going to get watered for 2 to 3 years after it's planted, because that's how we're going to see it succeed. Because otherwise, you're putting money into planting trees, and then 2 years later, you're taking them out of the ground. It's crazy.
To learn more about the urban forest and the 20-year master plan that's currently being updated, visit getinvolvedburlington.ca/UFMP. Reporting for Halton News, I'm Nikki Wesley.